son, Larry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Big Idea Podcast. Boy, do we have a special guest this week, Shelia Pogue. I mean, we know her, we love her, and we're really excited she had decided to join us. Shelia, for those few people that may not know you, even though I'm skeptical that anyone wouldn't, why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do, and thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Shelia Pogue. I started at a parts counter at an RV dealership in 2014. I worked my way up, like a lot of us do, through fixed operations, did a little bit of variable. I eventually transitioned to the marine industry, where I ended up as a director of operations. And then I came over to the dark side that is automotive as a vendor representative in 2021. I've been there ever since. I consult nationwide for predominantly automotive dealers, but across the nation, usually focusing on marketing of the digital variety. But I can talk about a lot of things, having been at the dealership myself.
That's awesome. That's a great way of learning, because I'm learning the differences in the ag, marine, and RV business, and it's very similar, but the auto industry is definitely where everyone is wrestling. The other industries, I don't want to say they're a step behind, but they're still learning the ways of the auto industry. And I think that what's going to be really good for them is they're going to bypass all of the manual entry and all of the where they're going to be able to start using all the digital tools that make life easier for everybody. And where were you in the marine industry, if you don't mind me asking?
Predominantly out of Texas.
Okay.
I worked for a company called Marine Max for a long time. I've worked at several different dealerships in Kima on the coast there. I grew up about 15 minutes away from Johnson Space Center in my grandparents' house. And I actually grew up across the street from the Marine Max that I ended up managing a department for. So I watched those boats every day and just, was on the water looking at how they would move them in and out, and wanted to be a part of that. So that probably is what planted that seed for me.
What do you see the difference between those industries and the auto industry today?
Well, you struck a nerve. They definitely are behind auto. I won't mince words. It's, I would say 10, 20 years. There's no standardization across luxury recreation or recreation in general. Automotive has such a deep penetration in our nation. There's agencies for everything you could possibly want to do, and support out the wazoo for automotive dealers. But when you get in, you mentioned agriculture, when you get into like different types of retail points, they don't have the type of support that automotive traditionally does. And that is kind of a passion project of mine. Lately, I've been focused on fleet and commercial for the automotive space, because it's not the same as retail. They need different types of support. And that really resonates with me, coming from a different type of environment where I was having to rebuild the wheel or make my own wheel, or, try to make a square into a wheel, whatever, what have you, with no support. So I really get a kick out of helping dealers now in a way that I wish I had support when I was at the store. And that's kind of what I wanted to hijack this platform for. I was so grateful for the opportunity when y'all invited me to have this audience and be able to talk to different dealers in ways that I think would provide value and help them. I get a kick out of that. That's the name of my game.
Well, I'm excited to hear what you have to say, because I'm getting knee deep in it, and they do need infrastructure and support. However, what I do enjoy is that they're willing to listen. That's a whole different thought process. So if you could hijack away and talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, I have a feeling that most of these topics are going to light y'all up, and we're going to have some good conversation. So we'll have a Q&A. If anyone has any questions, we can, check out the chat. I'm going to start off with a story. I'm a windy gal. I'm from the South, so that's just how I roll. You might have noticed, I know me and Gary were talking offline about a post that I did earlier this week about my grandfather, who was actually an astronaut. So I'm going to start off with a story about my grandfather, William R. Pogue. He was an astronaut on Skylab. He was in orbit for 84 days. He was also a colonel in the United States Air Force. But his most impressive accomplishment to me was that he could wiggle his ears on cue, and he would do it at me at the dinner table. And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Very cool guy. I looked up to him a lot. He's the reason why I grew up where I did, across from that green board.
So you hear that, gentlemen? If you want to flirt with Sheila, forget flowers. Learn how to wiggle your
ears.
It's not easy to do.
Or be an
You eventually
astronaut.
taught me how to do it. I'll save that for the next podcast, but it's an acquired skill for sure. So when I was like 5 or 6, I don't know if y'all watched that clip. He's a very, very smart man. He talks about some really high level stuff involving physics and all kinds of things that I couldn't really wrap my little brain around. But one concept he was trying to explain to me when I was little is something called false horizon. I don't know if y'all are pilots or if you're familiar with this concept. I was 5, did not know what he was talking about, but he was trying to explain it to me. So false horizon is an optical illusion that can happen when you are a pilot and you are looking at cues from Earth's horizon, including clouds, that line that you assume is the plane that is, the Earth's horizon, things like that, lights, stuff like that when you're in flight. False horizon is something that can happen. The way he explained it to me is if you're flying, you can make little mini micro adjustments during the flight that you might not perceive physically, and you might not be able to see it if there's cloud cover, if it's dark out, if there's things that just make it look a different way. This can be really disorienting, as you can imagine, because suddenly the pilot is actually flying diagonally and thinks they're upright. Sometimes they could even be like upside down at, a very severe case, not realize that they had made these adjustments. When he was explaining this to me, he was talking about how it can be calamitous if you don't realize this is happening. And the solution is to stay calm. Say you get a low altitude alarm on your dash and you're looking at all your gauges and you notice that there's an issue and it's not jiving with what you're seeing out the cockpit. His advice was stay calm and trust your instrument panel. Look at the data that the instruments are showing you, and that's what you make your decisions on. That's
the
how
instruments
you
won't
the
lie.
operation.
Instruments won't lie, but your senses can be fooled by the
Correct.
nature of false horizon.
Larry, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So my first tip for dealers is to look at your instrument panel, check your data, measure everything, and do not make snap decisions and turn the wheel because of a feeling that you have or because it looks like it's sunshiny outside and you think you're on the left, but really you're to the right. You don't know. You have to rely on those measurements and that data. It's absolutely critical in every decision that you make. And I'm very process oriented. I'm from fixed operations traditionally. A lot of variable guys are more snap decisions sometimes. Please don't send hate mail. Send it to Larry if you do write in. But I think that taking a second to consult what you're seeing from your CRM or your DMS first before you make any changes is really critical.
Sheila, can I throw something in here?
Please do.
The difference and why dealers have to be extremely careful is unless there's some really bizarre occurrence, the dials and the data that the pilot receives is accurate. His own senses may betray him, but the data is accurate. One of the problems dealers face is their data correct? If you're getting false or inaccurate or incomplete data, then you really have a problem, because not only do you see a false horizon, but you can't fall back on the basis of, well, I know the data is correct.
It's so funny that you say that. I was on the phone earlier with CDK trying to adjust something that's very clearly a discrepancy in someone's CRM, and we can't, like, we're dead in the water. You can't, if that's broken, what do you do? Who are you trusting? You can't do anything. It's crippling. That's a really, really good point. You got to make sure that you can trust your equipment, make sure that everything is telling you correctly, and then analyze it, actually look at it.
Well, you watch the chaos when the system goes down on the last day of the month. Boy, are they losing their mind, because their dials are not, they're not there. And so that's where the software systems can cripple, especially what happened a few years ago when CDK got hijacked, and they put all those dealers in tremendous stressful environments. So that's a great point.
I have a tangent about that, the CDK crash. This has nothing to do with my tips or anything, but it kind of does. We had a client, a lot of people freaked out and closed their doors when that happened.
Oh yeah.
They were like, I don't know what to do. Like, sorry, we're closed. A lot of people lost out on a lot of sales. It was a big deal for weeks while they were trying to transition. People fired, and moved to other DMS CDK situations. I had a client that was like, no, we're not doing this. Everyone else is closed. I'm gonna be the one guy that's open. We're gonna make that cross on a piece of paper. I know how to paper a deal. I've been doing this for a while. We reached out and found a way to pivot their leads, instead of being a CRM integration, to going direct to email to the guy that was still in seat. So there was no interruption in lead flow. They were still getting all their hits. We were still running all their ads. And because everyone around them were closed, they broke a record that month in sales.
Yep.
Their forecast, they blew it out of the water. And it's just a matter of dialing in. Like, are you going to be the guy that gets scared, or are you going to make hay when the sun shines?
Every problem is an opportunity. And Mr. Silman and I are old enough to remember when dealers could do a lease by hand.
Oh yeah. The amortization.
When the grid crashes, you still got to move metal. You got to figure it out. So it's definitely a cool skill that maybe, I know that this topic, I think our theme was the future of sales. This is the future. This is the path. This is just running this business. All of these tips are going to be pretty generalized towards what you need to do, what you've always needed to do, and what has always made sense. There's a lot of constriction. I'll move on. I'm getting ahead of myself.
David Rozek's just chimed in. He's calling Larry and I old dudes. So, hey,
yeah,
David.
But David Rozek is known to be on a false horizon. So who cares?
David knows how to read his dials, though, and make a decision based on data.
He's a good data man.
He absolutely is.
When I was watching your grandfather, they spoke about seeing the sunrise, and that it was, and that visually in my head, when you were talking about, not knowing and seeing it, that can be very deceiving. But he said it was the most amazing thing that he was able to witness.
That was, 16 times a day. When he's up in space, I can't even fathom it. And that, I have a book. I'll send you a picture of it later, Gary. He signed a memoir for me, and there's a part where he talks about going out on Skylab and taking pictures with this fancy camp. He's tethered, and he stayed out there. This was off mission. He was just so excited. I'm a photographer, so this story really resonated with me. But he's out there taking pictures of all this stuff and taking video, and that they spliced that into that clip. I was like, that is so cool.
Sheila,
cool.
it's symmetrical, because you also get disoriented if you go down too far in the water.
Yep. He talked a little bit about some of the the oscillation on the shuttle and some things. a funny story too. He's not with us any longer, unfortunately, but he can't get mad if I share this story. They do a G-force test before you go on. You've probably seen it. It's like a post, and then it's got a stick on it, and there's like a little chair on the edge, and it spins you around so you can test the different G's. And I think past the third one, he passed out. They also have a video feed of you on there. So he's like, it's first you see their face start to go back from all the velocity, and then you just see him like go out.
That happened to Mike on our last podcast. We're trying to lower the G forces right here.
I say pump it up.
Yeah, then we can all just pass out.
So you're working with a lot of dealers across the country, and you made a good point. Being a car guy, we were taught that we had to make quick decisions. And, in F&I, in the sales department, and now that, I've kind of been out of the, the day-to-day grind in the dealership, it seems like we're still riddled with PTSD in the auto industry. And that from the top to the bottom is that everybody is just reacting and not listening and not paying attention to their dials. What are you doing that you finally are making progress where they're slowing down and listening and not relying on what they were taught for many years? Make a decision. You got to be on the ball. You got to take another deal. Well, we don't want that anymore, because now we can use some smart tools, like some AI tools that help make life easier, so we don't have the PTSD that runs rampant, where they got to answer phones and they got to do this. Talk about how you've been able to, I guess, coach your dealers into a better way of what they've been doing.
You could not have teed up my next tip any better than you just did.
Great.
So my answer to that is lean on your people like us. And what I mean by that is I talked about how when I was at the dealership, I didn't really have a lot of trusted vendor partnerships. Yep. That was kind of limited. Also, mostly in parts, a lot of times you don't get marketing dollars, or you don't get, the ability to hire agencies as you see fit. When you can, if you're a GM or a principal or a marketing director or what have you, and you are in that seat and you do have a little bit of ability to hire people that you trust, and you've built a team that is say it's a tool provider, say it's a marketing person, say it's a new platform, it's a this, it's a that, get them all on a single call every month that recurs. And this is going to do a bunch of different things for you. The first thing is it's going to keep everyone accountable. We were all there. Gary saw what I said. Mike knew what numbers we were talking about. Larry he saw my analytics that I showed. He saw my reporting. We are all going to keep each other accountable and rowing in the same direction. It's going to limit your time of having to coordinate all of these meetings with all of these multiple points. I'd much rather have one longish meeting than 30-minute meetings throughout the month. And it's going to ensure that you're the most time efficient with reporting. If you're telling me you sold this many units, this many new, this many used, your focus is on pre-owned, you've got a stop sale on this unit coming up, I really need you to focus on this promo that I have, my message needs to be this, here's some new content that I dropped in the drive for everyone. It's so much more efficient to have everyone on that call having the same conversation at the same time, and everyone leaves and everyone knows what we're doing. You don't have 1,000 recap conversations. You don't have to then follow up with so-and-so and have another meeting tomorrow with the web guy and blah, blah, blah. Whenever possible, get your vendors to work together. If they care about you and they genuinely want you to succeed, that will out immediately on calls. Like, you will know really quickly if there's one guy that doesn't want to play.
It's a great philosophy. It's always been my belief that we have way too many meetings and the meetings are too long. I don't care how good of a speaker you are, people tune out. Meetings should be short. There should be a beginning, a middle, and an end, and an affirmation that everybody's on the same page or at least understands what the purpose of the meeting was.
Years
Sheila,
ago.
I got a question. Yeah, I got a quick question for you. I love that concept of meeting every month, but and it's not a but what we've done is you know, I'm working with companies that have a rudder on their ship. They're going up, and I want to go up. Too many people in the car industry don't have their mission, vision, values written down. So that kind of document is putting a ship on the rudder so we're all going up and not round and round and round and round. Additionally, it could be a living document of what you just said, is holding everybody accountable and making adjustments as you grow to that document, your mission, vision, values. Because everybody from the top to the guy that cleans the toilets, they've got to know your mission, or else you go round and round and round.
It's navigation, Mike. If you don't put the coordinates in, you're never going to get where you want to go.
Not on paper, it's vapor.
Years ago, when we would install dealerships, we would bring in our products and services. And we would always say, who's going to call the menu company and add it? And when the dealer said, let my F&I guy do it, we knew there was going to be a problem, because there was no incentive for them to do it. And they would always use excuses. Well, they couldn't do it. And so years ago, I remember I had to take initiative, because if the dealership system isn't connected and they can't do everything that they need to be able to do every day, it's a broken system. So I had to learn all of these different menu providers and different systems, because it would be, no, you're getting paid for this service and the service isn't working right now. We need our forms, we need our connections. And so that's where I had to learn many, many systems. And just what you're saying is that if everybody is not in the room to say, well, it's not connecting, well, then you need to get your people to get on that and put a ticket in and make sure it gets connected. And before our next meeting, you need to show us where we are. And hopefully we're not having the same conversation at the next meeting, wasting time, frustrating people. So it makes tons of sense of making sure that you get everybody together, because marketing isn't concerned about the F&I. So, but once you get everybody accountable in the room, that's such valuable information. And that's must be why you're so successful, is because you're able to collaborate and cut through the noise, because it's a lot of noise. There's the posturing, and it's not my fault, and it's endless in the auto industry. So I compliment you for creating calm, or as Mr. Rosick says, taking chaos and making it clear, or clarity, getting rid of the chaos. Yeah. So that's
think about your daily stand-ups with variable. Larry, I don't know when you're teaching your sales class how this conversation usually goes, but say you're trying to incentivize a little bit of friendly, healthy competition with spiffs or something like that. You want to present like, hey, problem is we have this goal that we want to reach, this unit volume for this month. We are pacing behind. It's the 15th. I need y'all to da-da-da-da-da. Wouldn't you want them all to jump up and be like, I'm your guy. I got it. I'll do it. I'm going to go I'm going to go close this unit right now. It's kind of the same vibe. The vendors all want to prove themselves to you. They want to be the solution. They want to help. And it kind of lights them up when you've got them all in a row. If that guy just came in with a killer idea, I don't want to just sit here and not say anything in this meeting. I need to provide some value for my client.
Healthy competition is always wonderful.
And communication is so undervalued in so many places. When I train, whether it's veterans or rookies, my final two steps are follow up and prospecting, because I know that's how you get wealthy in this business. And other than states like California and Virginia, Ohio, in most states you're allowed to write a referral check, which is a very powerful whiff, a very powerful what's in it for me. You'd be amazed how many guys I talked about this, and I say, what's your referral? I don't know. Well, you didn't know because your managers weren't smart enough to say, hey, and it's the least expensive form of advertising because you don't pay it out until you've already made the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sheila, we usually like to go a little under half an hour so we get more eyeballs on this. And we'll probably have you back again. We
Oh
care
yeah.
about
No, I've got plenty more that I need to.
Why don't you tell us anything you'd like us to know, and we will definitely do a part 2 with you, Sheila. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I think I already said it. I love to help dealers. So if my email and my phone number is scrolling across the bottom there, if I can help you with marketing, fixed operations, SOPs for your variable, anything that you can think of, if I don't have the answer, I probably know someone that does.
Mike,
Even if it's like branching out, pie in the sky, I will connect you because for free, obviously, I'm not going to bill you for this. I like to do it. I enjoy connecting people. I connected with these lovely gentlemen because of that, because I want to learn. I'm always trying to learn more about the industry. Vendors, if you have a solution that I haven't heard of, let's do a demo. Like, hit me up.
Great.
I plan on doing that. You've been a pleasure. I'm glad that we finally had a chance to meet live and see you. And I definitely have a lot of questions that I will be following up on, because when you can do what you're doing in the auto industry today and having them follow your lead, that's great, because it's a challenge, and everybody is, sometimes they're chasing shiny pennies, and somebody needs to be able to level them and say, stop. And here's what needs to be done. And if you do it this way and follow your meters and your barometers, you'll be much more successful.
Don't be fooled by a false horizon. And we can tell you that not only is she really smart, she's one of the sincerely nicest people in our business. So reach out to her. There we go with Rozek again.
Astros. I don't do foosball.
There we go. On behalf of Mr. Selman and Mr. Larkin, we are so thrilled that you joined us. We will set you up for a part 2 because along with Gar, I have some questions. Mike always has some good, pertinent questions. But thank you so much for being on. And anybody that needs some help, and I think everybody needs a little help, reach out to Sheila. You not only won't you regret it, you'll be really glad you did.
Today's the last day of the month. I hope that everybody's having a strong finish. And if you need any help, we're all here to offer our help and help you get your tachometers level so you know where you're going. Thanks for joining us, Sheila.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Love yous.
Happy Friday.
Talk to you later.
Bye.